Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. I'm your host, Randy Sharman. In the wake of the devastating hurricane in Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean, the question comes up is, when is it okay to head back to those places who rely so much on tourism? In other words, how soon is too soon to visit after a disaster? Well, travel expert Ananta Forbes will join me in a few seconds to tackle that question. Then we'll chat with the folks from Revelstoke Mountain Resort as they gear up for the coming ski season. And we've got a bonus segment for you this week as we begin a new monthly feature with Rewards Canada founder Patrick Soika. Once a month, he'll stop by to give us the latest news and advice on what's going on in the world of travel rewards. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Ananta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Ananta Forbes. AnantaForbes.com is her website. Hello, Ananta.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. If I'm looking at the calendar correctly, you're supposed to be somewhere in Jamaica today, but that's not happening. So
No.
This all ties into our topic today. How soon is too soon to go to these places that have just experienced a natural disaster? And this hits close to home for you. So explain all the details for us.
Right. So I was booked to go to Jamaica, leaving on November 4th for a week. But Hurricane Melissa had other plans. A Category 5 hurricane that hit the island, the biggest ever, hardest hit by Jamaica. So definitely had to look at what to do, if I should go, where basically at the end of the day, I couldn't go because the flights were canceled and the airports were closed, as well as it just wasn't the right time to go, because it wasn't like, you have to think about the residents who are there, number one, because they need to, adjust and have to react to what's going on in their world. So it sometimes can be a tough call. There's no one size answer. There's lots of solid guidelines that you can follow to assess the risks and make a smart decision. And so the first thing I did, was to check the Government of Canada's travel advisory, and it says do not travel to Jamaica. So that's huge. And then if it does say avoid non-essential travel, that's a strong single, but it said do not go. So it wasn't even non-essential. It was just don't go. And the hurricane, when it hit, it was a very slow moving hurricane because it took its time to get there, and we didn't really know where it was going to hit. But Jamaica really is a small island at the end of the day. And then you have to consider the after effects of infrastructure damage, power outage, and transport disruptions. And that is huge because right now, a lot of people in Jamaica don't have power. And this is like almost a week later. So you have to consider, if you're there, what would be an evacuation route, emergency shelters, hospital power backup. So it's if what happens if like the roads are affected, which they were, as well as the airports, it was affected. And then when the airports did open, it was to get people out of the country and then to get supplies in. So it was pretty huge with that. And then you have to also consider, did you have insurance? Will the insurance cover? Like if you cancel, can you get refunds, cut your trip short? And then how flexible are the flights? So WestJet and Air Canada did have flexible booking policies. But the interesting thing was we weren't going to a certain date. So we almost had to wait to see our date come up before we saw what our options were, whether it's to cancel, rebook to a different destination, or reschedule for later. So there's a lot of moving parts. And being a travel agent, I have the resources and the tools, and I guess the scope of past scenarios to know what to do. But if you are on your own and you haven't booked with somebody that could be your advocate, that's a bit tricky, especially if you're at destination and there's no power. Like, how are
Hmm.
you going to get Wi-Fi, or how are you going to get your phone working, or get a hold of somebody to help you, right? Or get a
Hmm.
hold of the airline. And this is what I want to share with you. Even though I'm a travel agent and I have a different line than a normal consumer to get through to the airline, the waits were huge. And you do have self booking tools online, but
Hmm.
sometimes you need to talk to somebody about options.
Hmm.
And that's where your travel agent can come in and help you. And you don't have to go through that stress of waiting online. Or very popular at times, I don't know if you've ever encountered it, you wait online to different suppliers or companies and then they disconnect you, which is really
Yes.
not the thing to do, right?
No, exactly. You can start all over again.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So with the question of how soon is too soon, it was pretty easy for you to answer that one. It was too soon because it was
yeah,
so close to after the hurricane hit. It's this ethical dilemma though that eventually, do you want to be the first person to go back to Jamaica, for example, when they give the all clear signal? And yeah, the government of Jamaica may say, yeah, we want you to come back, but there's still people uh, uh, still struggling with that disaster, right?
absolutely. And you have to recognize too, how soon is too soon is when can they accommodate you? Because right now, a lot of hotels aren't able to accommodate you at the destination
Mm-hmm.
because they need to clean up, they need to do some work on their properties to be able to manage new tourism. So again, you'd have to check with the resort that you're going to, or if you're thinking of another resort, when they're available to be open for you, because like a lot of hotels aren't open. They're trying to get ready for Christmas, which is their high season, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, um, finances also take effect because they want to get ready so that they can mitigate some of the financial loss that they've had, and to be back in, to be a destination of choice for clients. So you have to, um, some resorts may be functioning well, but others may be isolated from the worst damage. But other local communities, especially rural, may still be in a recovery mode. And so you have to consider, I guess, like you say, ethical timing is like,
Mm-hmm.
if they can manage it. And the tourism industry is a vital lifeline for a lot of Jamaican residents. So in principle, visiting a well-prepared resort or tourism business could provide meaningful support, but that depends heavily on where you go, how you stay, and what your interaction is with the local community and economy. So if you, it just depends. Like if you stay in some place that's luxury, that it has minimal connection, um, to the local workers or services, like your benefit to a wider community might be limited.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to think of the risk of negative optics or unintended harm if tourism resumes too quickly in an area still in substantial like distress.
Mm-hmm.
Some residents may need primary recovery and basic services rather than visitor services ramping back up. So I would suggest that you consider how the best way is to support that community. There's lots of ways you can donate to the countries affected, and not just Jamaica too, because there's other island that were affected by the
Mm-hmm.
hurricane.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have to recognize it's a broad Caribbean situation. And so, do you support them by sending products? Like I just got an email from the Sandals Foundation, and they're looking for canned goods, for sanitary products, for different things that are really necessary. Or do you support them by giving money to different credible organizations that know how to use the money well in that destination?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's a lot of things to consider. And then I think Jamaica will rebound because they've been hit by hurricanes before. They're a company. My aunt's from Jamaica, and she says and she was born and she was raised the majority of her adult life there. And they said, you know what, we grew up in this kind of
Exactly.
scenario. So,
Exactly.
she's a strong Caribbean woman that will rebound.
Absolutely. Well, it is that ethical dilemma, right? You want to help out the economy, and at the same time, there's still people hurting there. So it's a delicate balance, and it's a good suggestion. Some of those, if you want to, instead of taking a vacation there, help out by donating to some of the organizations that can help the locals and get them back on their feet. And when they are back on their feet, then you can go visit and then spend money locally and help them out that way.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think at the end of the day, the most important people are the residents of Jamaica. They need to, if we've seen it in different ways, like in Jasper, when the
Yeah.
unfortunate situation of those fires, they need to just assess first, and get back on their feet, because it's a very traumatic experience losing either your business or your home. That's your sanctuary. And if your home's gone and your memories are, impacted, you have to rebuild. And you don't want to be disrespectful to the people by being a tourist and not supporting them in a way that they need to be supported.
Well said. Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Always good to chat, Onanta. Thank you.
Take care.
Well, ski season is almost underway, and one place that is gearing up for it is the Revelstoke Mountain Resort in Revelstoke, BC. The resort was recently named the best ski resort for powder in the 2025 Snowmad Ski Resort Awards. So joining us now to share what the Revelstoke Mountain Resort has to offer is Laura Meggs, PR and Communications Manager for the Revelstoke Mountain Resort. RevelstokeMountainResort.com is their website. Hi, Laura.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Of
I am
course.
looking on your website, Revelstoke Mountain Resort. Big video of skiing in powder. So we got to say
Oh, yeah.
congratulations on being named the world's best ski resort for powder for the 2025 Snowmad Ski Resort Awards. I'm not into the ski world, but it sounds like a big deal. Is this like the Academy Awards for ski
Yeah,
resorts?
I mean, it's a great award. One thing that's super unique about the SNOMAD Awards is that it's voted on by people who have visited the resort. So it's a true indication of where we perform well, and it's no secret that powder is one of our strengths throughout the winter. So it was a great honor to have the title handed over to us this year. So yeah, you'll have to come out and check it out. I know you're not a skier, but I could change your mind.
I used to ski, but
It's
I would,
soft,
and when when I
Powder's
did
soft.
ski, I was a lazy skier. I would call myself a lazy skier, so I need groomed runs. Powder, I would just sort of sink right in there and not move.
Well, along with powder, we do have amazing groomed runs too. I might be biased, but honestly, I know you would have fun. Lazy or not, we can make it work for you.
Well, let's talk about the ski season coming up. I understand it's not quite open yet; it's still quite early. But what do you have
Yeah.
planned? Is if someone had been skiing there maybe a couple of years ago or something like that, would they notice new things, added things?
It's definitely just the arrival experience itself has changed. So absolutely, if you've been gone for a couple years, you would come into the resort and notice a lot of things happening around the base, which is really exciting. Um, on the mountain, we've really worked to develop our intermediate skiing terrain. Obviously, Revelstoke, we have a reputation for extreme um, terrain that speaks to our advanced skiers, but we do actually have a softer side, and we're pretty proud to see it's turned into more than a 5 year plan, but over the past 5 years and now into the sixth, we're working really hard to create an experience from the start that you can progress through the mountain and never feel like it's too big of a mountain for you. It's too challenging. So I think if you haven't been here in a couple years, you would come up to the top of the gondola and recognize that there is a huge expansion in that world. So yeah,
Nice. And well, you mentioned
yep,
the base. That really is where the action is, where the Sutton Place Hotel is, which we'll talk about in a moment. But just
yep.
for people who haven't been there, yeah, you take the gondola ride up to the mountain, and it really is spectacular.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that we're known for here is our vertical descent. Our mountain is huge. So if you arrive at the resort, the first thing you do is hop on the gondola. You take two gondolas up to basically the start of our terrain. And then from there, that's where that progressive terrain starts. So we have a magic carpet where people can start to learn. You head over to the stellar chair and the ripper chair, which is a lot of green, blue and green runs. And then from there, you progress onto the Stoke side, which gives you access to um, 1,713 meters of vertical. So
Wow.
it is, yes, it's a lot. And on top of that, we actually have a green run off the Stoke. So the Stoke is known to be steeper and it gives you access to all of our bowls. But the beauty of the Stoke chair is whether or not you're an advanced skier, intermediate, or beginner, we have a green run called the Last Spike that is 15.2 kilometers long that runs from the top of the Stoke right down to the village base. So there really
Cool.
is a run for everybody, no matter where you end up on the resort, which is cool. Yeah.
That's what you call the last run of the day, and it probably takes you half a day to
Yes.
do it.
There's a couple spots along the way you can stop and grab a beer or a beverage and enjoy the ride.
See,
Yeah,
now you're talking.
it's a good
That's
one.
my kind of
Yep.
skiing. So I would just do that
Yep.
one run, and I'd be good. The
Honestly,
green
that
run
is
that's 15 kilometers
a
long.
feat in itself. Yes, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
that's good. So yeah, it doesn't matter what level of ability you are. You're going to have fun at the Revelstoke Mountain Resort, right?
absolutely. Yeah. And that's the goal. We want families to come. We want you to come with your friends who might not be as good as you and be able to provide an experience that's special for everybody that comes. So, yeah, we're quite
Hmm.
proud of that expansion.
And now you're located. I wouldn't say out of the main town area, but it's not as what people might think. You're not right in Revelstoke, right?
Well, yeah, we are about a 7 minute now. If there's traffic, it might be a little longer on a powder day, but it's around a 7 minute drive from the downtown core. So
Hmm.
that's another unique feature to Revelstoke because a lot of times when you go to ski towns, you're looking at a longer commute,
Hmm.
sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 45. So it is really convenient that no matter where you stay in town, you are quite close to the resort. Um, so that's feedback we hear all the time is people just love how accessible the resort is, whether you're doing the ski in, ski out, or you're opting to stay in town, um, where there's more access to retail shopping, great
Hmm.
restaurants, and a little more of the nightlife scene. Yeah, there's
Hmm.
there's an option for everybody in Revi. So
Let's
yeah,
talk about the Sutton Place Hotel. I have stayed there. Again, it was in the summertime. It is absolutely
yeah.
gorgeous. The thing I like about it is it's all apartment style units, right?
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly how we describe them. So it's the only true ski in, ski out hotel available at the resort. It's all the rooms are condo style, exactly as you say. So they come equipped with a kitchen, a living room area, and laundry included. So you can come and make that your home base and feel like you're at home. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful hotel, and we are actually looking forward to adding another hotel to the base of the resort in the coming years. So yeah, there'll be some great options available at the resort for ski and ski out.
Nice. And
Yeah,
like I said, it can accommodate larger groups, larger families. So it's unique that way. And there's restaurants on site
yeah.
and all the other amenities that you need, right?
Yep, exactly. So the rooms, you can start at a studio room if it's just going to be yourself or you and a partner, and it goes all the way up to a three-bedroom suite. So lots of opportunity to travel with friends or your full family, which is really nice. And then, as you mentioned, the resort. pretty much has everything that you need. We have a couple restaurants at the base. We have a cafe. We have retail shops. We have rental shops. We have repair shops. So we're fully equipped. You could come and just stay at the resort and really just spend your time bouncing between skiing and enjoying the luxury of the hotel. So,
Mhm. Are there other activities offered as well? Like I'm thinking like snowshoeing and those types of activities.
yeah, and that's another unique point for Revelstoke is because everything's so close, we have so many extra activities that you can add on to your trip. Like you said, there's snowshoeing, there's dog sledding, there's snowmobile tours, there's heli skiing, there's um, lots of great spas in town. There's hot springs that are just outside of town. So there's a lot of ways that you can add on to your trip to make it a full winter experience, which is really nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when is the ski season starting? What date do you have circled
Well,
on the calendar?
we are ready to go for November 29th. We've been really lucky so far. There's been a lot of snow accumulating. We had our first snowfall in town yesterday, so we're starting, the hype is starting around town, and we're all ready for November 29th. Some people will even camp out the night before to ensure they get the
Is it?
first tracks, which is really fun.
Are you equipped for night skiing too?
We are not. No, no.
I would
It's
think that though, being on a mountain at nighttime, because the hotel is still on the mountain, it would just be spectacular in the winter, quiet and I don't
absolutely,
know,
yeah.
yeah, magical. I guess is the word.
Yeah, super peaceful. Yep, yep. When it's snowing, it is just a whole, you feel like you're in a snow globe. You feel like you're in a Hallmark movie. There has been a Hallmark movie that that was shot in Revelstoke. So it truly is like a really unique experience when you come to Revelstoke.
So what are other events? I know in there will be the opening day and that kind of thing, but events around the corner, obviously Christmas, New Year's, and the holidays. You must have some celebrations
Yep.
planned.
Yeah, we have a really great lineup of holiday events that will run throughout December. We do fireworks on New Year's Eve, which is always a hit. And then from there, we really run into like we have rail jams throughout the winter. We host IFSA competitions, which is pretty high level freestyle riding. We host the Natural Selection Snowboarding event, which is the top snowboarding event in all of I think globally, actually, it's a pretty cool one that we're proud to partner with them on that one. We have Valentine's Day weddings, which we offer free weddings on February 14th to couples at the top of the mountain. And there's something just so special about that. Seeing the love of the sport bring people together is just incredible. Yeah, there's just a huge lineup of great events that you can check out on our website. So never a dull moment in Revelstoke. Yeah.
And when the snow all melts, you can still stay there and do the mountain coaster and other activities as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, it used to be that Revelstoke was a one season destination, which was great. Winter was our strong suit, but we've really worked hard to level up I'm not going to call it shoulder season anymore, but our summer offering. We pretty much run all year round now with a few months to switch over. But like you said, we have the Pipe Mountain Coaster, which is, there's no other way to describe it. It's just a thrilling ride down the mountains. Like you go through glades, you go across ski runs, and I scream really loud when I do it. So it's quite exhilarating. We have great hiking trails, we have mountain bike trails, and we also this year added the Revelstoke High Line, which is just, I think I might be biased again, but the best views in Revelstoke. It's a suspension bridge and a cantilever viewing deck that's you
Oh,
have to visit
really?
to understand, yeah, the experience. It's pretty amazing. If you want to come out, I'll get you a ticket. It's only open in the summer. It's not available to see in the winter, but
Hmm.
it's just one of those things that we realize that a lot of our summer offerings are activities and for people who are adventure seekers, and this
Hmm.
rounds out the product. So you can come up with your family grab a burger at the top, and take a nice walk down to this high line and get the most incredible views of the Monashee Mountain Range and the Columbia River below. So it's really unique and quite special.
Well, it sounds
So
really
yeah,
amazing, and plus
yeah.
the town of Revelstoke itself has lots to offer. Even like I'm a big railway buff. They got an amazing railway museum there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the other thing too, is this town is just steeped in history. We have the CP Rail, we have forestry, and there's so many incredible museums to check out. Like you said, that we have the railway, we have the Revelstoke Museum, we have the dam, which really provides energy to most of interior BC. So there's a lot of cool experiences beyond the extreme activities in
hmm
Revelstoke. So
Where
yeah.
do the majority of your guests come from? Are they
Oh,
people from Western Canada, the U.S., or do
tough
you get a lot of
call.
Europeans now?
It's a great mix. We get obviously a lot of people that come out on weekends. We're a short drive from Calgary, Kelowna, Vernon, those areas. So super accessible to our neighbors. But we see a lot of people coming out from Eastern Canada. So obviously we have mountain and snow that they just don't get out there. We see a ton of people coming from the States, especially we're part of the Icon Pass and Mountain Collective Pass. So that gives you access to hundreds of ski resorts throughout North America and globally. So it really has made a difference on how people make their travel decisions. And then, like you said, there are tons of people that come over from Europe. So we see a lot of visitors from the UK. Um, we actually see a lot of people come from Australia and New Zealand as well. So it's a good mix. It's hard to really say
Mm-hmm.
who brings the most, but it's really interesting to sit down on a chairlift and just start to chat with your neighbor to find out where coming from and how they heard about
Mm-hmm.
Revelstoke and what they love about the resort. It's cool. The sport definitely brings the world together, which is
That's for sure.
really
Is there anything you want to add that I might have missed?
well. I think I mean, you need to come and try Revelstoke. Obviously, we are a mountain for all skill sets and a very special one for families. If you have plans to come out, we are running a campaign called Kids Ski Free. So from March 15th to April 12th, with the purchase of an adult ticket, kids 12 and under ski free. So it's a great opportunity to come out with the family, check out the resort, and shed a bit of the cost that kids tend to bring. So
Laura Meggs is
yeah.
the PR and communications manager for Revelstoke Mountain Resort. RevelstokeMountainResort.com is the website. It was great chatting with you, Laura. Here's to
Yeah,
a
you
good ski
too.
season.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you out there on the groomers.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You could also email me too with any questions you might have. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And check out our social media pages too at facebook.com/informedtraveler, Instagram @informedtraveler, or on X @informedtraveler. That's where you'll find a number of videos and reels on our past visits throughout the year and posts from other adventures. Plus, you can now sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's released at the beginning of every month. Our November issue is now available. Just go to our website, theinformedtraveler.org, click on the newsletter button, and it'll take you right there. Or better yet, you can subscribe to it and have it arrive in your inbox each month. Well, we've got a bonus segment for you this week as we begin a new monthly feature with Rewards Canada. Once a month, the founder of Rewards Canada, Patrick Soika, will stop by to give us the latest news and advice on what's going on in the world of travel rewards. And this month, we're going to wade into the recent and it appears a bit confusing changes with WestJet Rewards. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Randy. Thanks for having me back on your show.
I'm looking on your website, rewardscanada.ca, and there's just so much. I don't know how you keep up with
I don't
all the
even know. I
rewards
either.
plans out there. So this is why we're kind of going to tap in with your expertise once a month and just go over the latest news of what's happening with rewards, travel rewards, and those types of things. The one that stuck out for me, though, that we're going to talk about are the WestJet rewards, the RBC WestJet rewards credit card changes to that.
Yeah,
It seems that they now, correct me if I'm wrong, they went from a dollar to dollar idea to points, right?
that's correct. Yes, they are now WestJet rewards points. That was as of, what was it, April 30th? Yeah, April 30th. It changed to from dollars to points. That's, yeah. So
My big question is, is it more advantageous for WestJet or RBC or whatever to have a dollar for dollar plan or a points plan in your mind?
So points plan allows for a lot more flexibility in the program. Dollars made it tough because number one, it was hard. It's hard to earn because they didn't run with cents. So so things had to be rounded up or down.
Mm-hmm.
So there was potential that customers would not be earning as much as they could be with a different program, or they'd be they'd be earning more or less depending on. Try to remember, I think WestJet rounded up in certain, if you're at 0.5, they rounded up. If it was less, they rounded down. So there's advantages and disadvantages each way, but it allows them to expand the program for just more partnerships with points based makes it a lot easier. They have this new partnership with TELUS, where you can earn points. They were launching one with Skip, one with Canadian Tire. So it's just it just opens the door because points are just, I guess, easier because you do basically can get down to that 1 penny level, in terms of rewarding points, whereas on the dollars level, it was harder for them to do that.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. If you wanted to get partnership, it's easier. It seems to me it's also easier that if I'm looking on the WestJet site to book a flight, and I don't know, it's $500, and I have $500, then I know I can get that flight.
Easy.
Whereas now it's like, well, you may not have enough points for that $500 flight, right?
Yeah. So I mean, so basically, you just have to shift the decimal point over by 2 now, because the good thing is that they kept the value of the points. So 100 points equals $1. They haven't really adjusted that. Now there is a slight difference when you redeem for government taxes and fees. You have to pay. You get a little bit less, like a worse redemption rate. It's anywhere from 105 to 115 points per dollar. So it's a little bit worse, but not terrible. Or if you redeem for extras like seat selection and luggage, but this is after your booking. If you pick seats, seat selection, if you do your seat selection, book your bags all at the same time you're booking your original flight, you'll get the better 100 points to $1 redemption rate for those. So it's actually pretty decent. So that part has actually stayed. Actually, I would say is better because in the old program you could only redeem dollars for the base fare. Now you can redeem for 100% of your fare. 90% of it is covered 100 to 1 unless it's one of those, or no, it is even, I was going to say unless it's one of those dreaded flights to Europe, but sorry, even the carrier surcharges is at the good redemption rate. It is strictly the government fees and taxes, which I mean, on flights actually aren't. I mean, I guess it depends where you're flying to. They can add up to a bit more, but I'd say if anything, 85 to 95% of your actual entire airfare you can cover at the good 100 points to $1 redemption rate.
Excellent. Obviously, I don't have a WestJet rewards card because I'm asking all these questions about it. So if someone does have accumulated a number of points, and now what changes would they notice?
So basically it's that shift in that decimal point. Like some people ask me, they're like, I have 50,000 points. What's that worth? It's like, well, it's $500, but they, maybe that hasn't been communicated that well that, it's basically, you still have the same value. They did change. So like in the old program, the minimum redemption rate was 15 WestJet dollars, but it was per direction per person. And they've changed it to 2,500 points as your minimum redemption. So that's actually $25, but that is across, as many people booked on your reservation. It can be one way, it can be round trip. So before, if you had a round trip for, say 4 people, you would be redeeming what would be 15 times by 4 is 60. You'd have to have 120 WestJet dollars to redeem. Because it was per person, per direction, I believe.
Okay.
Whereas now it's just a flat 2,500 points. Doesn't matter how many people you're booking for. So as long as you have that $2,500 or 2,500 points for $25, you can redeem that towards your airfares. So that's gotten a little bit better in that regard. I guess maybe for solo travelers might be a little bit worse because now if you could redeem $15 before, now you have to redeem 25. I think that's really more of a moot point, not a huge difference there.
So what's the deal with companion vouchers now? I am looking on your website, rewardscanada.ca. People can sign up for your newsletter, by the way. So it seems to be some confusion over the companion voucher.
Yeah. So right now what we just talked about was more the general WestJet Rewards program. So there are changes to the WestJet RBC World Elite MasterCard and WestJet RBC MasterCard. And that's kind of where that companion voucher comes in. So these changes actually just are going to kick in on November 5th, 2025. They were announced back in, what was that, in early September? I don't remember now. It's been a little while since I covered it. But yeah, so there's some good and bad changes to it. And the changes to the companion vouchers, depending on the individual, some people are seeing it as bad changes and others are seeing it as good changes. So what they've done with the companion voucher up until these changes kick in on November 5th, you can use it for to redeem for a companion to fly with you, and that hasn't changed. That's still there. Nothing has changed with that. What has changed is there was an option to convert the voucher to 4 lounge passes. And a lot of solo travelers would use that because they never had a need for the companion voucher because they never traveled with anybody else. So that's changing. That's going to change to 2 lounge passes. So they've lowered that if you want to convert to lounge passes. Now, WestJet did tell me that affects, I believe, less than 5% of people who redeem for voucher. Yeah, I have it in front of me here. Less than 5% of cardholders actually do that. So not a huge amount, but it seems like it's a lot of Rewards Canada community who are, because the feedback I got on my Facebook group, everybody was like, I'm going to go redeem right now so I get my 4 passes, because you can redeem right up till November 4th and get 4 passes. As of November 5th, you get 2 passes. But so what they did, they lowered that to 2, but then they added a couple additional options that you can use now. So you can convert you can convert the companion voucher to a 30% flight discount. So this is good for solo travelers because, again, if you couldn't use that companion voucher, now you can use it for a 30% flight discount for economy class fares only. They don't allow for premium or business, but so you can get some good savings there. Or you can convert it now as well. This is new, a $200 WestJet vacation or Sunwing vacations credit. So that's kind of good for family travelers or all-inclusive travelers. What I like about that one is that it gives you a solid value. This card costs $139 a year. That's one of the other changes. It used to be $119 a year, and then as of November 5th, it bumps up to $139, which is competitive. Most World Elite or Visa Infinites in the market are now $139 to $150. So they were actually on the cheaper end of things. So they just kind of caught up to the rest of the pack there. But yeah, so that you can get basically $200 of value from your companion voucher each and every year. And you're paying basically $139 for it if you're not using your credit card for anything else. So that's actually not a bad thing. A few people I talk to say that's awesome because they do take WestJet vacations or Sunwing vacations flights. So to get that $200 off is great. Now, the other change which people are not happy about is that there's a new annual spend requirement kicking in. So what happens right now with the WestJet vouchers is you get it free each and every year with the card.
Okay.
Going forward, as of November 5th, you'll get it free the first year you have your card, but then you have to spend $5,000 on your card over the course of a year to get any future companion vouchers each and every year. You have to spend $5,000. So it's not a huge amount of spending, but it's still, when you've been used to it for what I think they introduced companion vouchers at least 10 or 12 years ago. So even myself, I've been getting a voucher every year for 10 or 12 years for doing nothing. Now you have to spend $5,000. So I think for a lot of people, that's not a huge issue, but definitely I've heard a bit of complaints about it, that people are saying. The good thing is that really doesn't kick in for almost another year.
Okay.
I just actually got my email a couple of days ago. I said, your new companion voucher is here. And based on that, I think get one more next year, but then starting November of next year, I believe it is. But so there's a little bit of breathing space in there, but just know that going forward, just to be safe, I would, make sure you spend $5,000 on your card every year and you're going to get that companion voucher.
Is the companion voucher easy to use?
Yes and no. It's easy to use, but there's a copay, right? You have to pay what is it? Do I have the pricing in front of me? I don't even have it in front of me, but I think it was like $399 for international flights and $119, I believe, for like Canada and US.
Okay.
But then Hawaii, sun destinations, places like that, $399. So it really depends on the fare you're paying for your flight, whether whether it works out. But they'll tell you that on the WestJet site now when you book and you click the little box to use companion voucher, it'll tell you whether it's worth it to use it or not, whether you're getting value for it. The biggest complaint I've heard around it is mainly flights to Europe, because the companion voucher only covers base fares.
Oh.
And as we know, as a lot of us know, flights to Europe have very low base fares. Like Air Transat, I think charges like $2, and the rest is surcharges. So same thing kind of with West. They're not that bad, but WestJet, if it's like a $1,200 flight to Europe, the base fare might only be $200 or $300, and then the rest is surcharges. So you'd have to pay $400 to use a voucher to save $200. So that's not worth it,
No,
and that's a complaint I hear a lot. Is that that's probably another. We should talk about that maybe in another podcast. Is just the whole issue around flights to Europe, because it's not just WestJet. There's issues with Air Miles, Avion, Aventura. Europe, that whole low base fare is a killer for some loyalty programs.
Interesting. So yeah, I guess it's not like it's a free flight; it's a voucher.
No,
so
it's a voucher,
kind of a credit,
and there's a
it's
copay.
a cheaper flight.
Yeah, and it can make it cheaper. I've always used them. Like we have a family of four, so my wife has a WestJet card, I have a WestJet card, so we have a couple vouchers to use each time, so we can fly our kids for free, and we've gotten huge value out of them booking last minute flights. When they're really expensive. It's like, you know what? Let's go to Palm Springs this weekend, and it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, and and it's like $1,500 round trip per person. $6,000 of flights. We've cut that down to probably like $3,500 in the past. When we wanted to do it. So there is, they are really good for that kind of last minute thing. Or if flights are expensive, if you want to book flights, during spring break when always the prices are a little higher, that's when you can get some really good value from. But if you're buying the ultra basic, like really cheap $50, $60 fares, there's no value in those vouchers at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what about the first checked bag free benefit changes?
Yes, so
what's going on with that?
That's another one. Again, the Rewards Canada community was not happy about this one because we know the trick with the card. So basically, that benefit, when you've had this card, you've always gotten the first check bag free on WestJet flights, and it didn't matter which card you paid with. So you could pay with an American Express card. You can go pay with a TD Aeroplan card if you wanted, for your WestJet flight, and you'd still get your first check bag free just by having the credit card associated with your account. So they're curbing that a little. You now have to pay for your WestJet flights with the WestJet credit card to make sure you get your first check bag free. So some people are not happy about that. Of course, most people that are not kind of, I would say, points and miles addicts, weren't even aware.
Geeks? You ought to use the word
geeks. Yeah. So I would say most people who are not points and miles geeks weren't aware that they didn't have to use the WestJet card. A lot of people just use their WestJet card no matter what. And I mean, they probably should have, because you get more points. You get 2 points per dollar for buying WestJet flights with the card. So it wasn't a bad deal. But some people, I guess a smaller subset of the population, we knew that you didn't have to use the card. So, we'd use other cards. So that changes. And so now that's that's for new bookings as of November 5th. If you book any flights before November 5th, you could still use a different card. So not a huge deal. I think, again, it's kind of that subset of people who are more annoyed with this. I think a lot of people who have the card were booking flights with WestJet anyways to get their first check, or with the WestJet card to get their first check bag free. They weren't aware that you didn't have to. So, but again, there's a few people who are upset with that, because I know one thing I wrote about a lot is the American Express Platinum card actually gives discounts on WestJet flights when you book it through Amex Travel. So you could actually save on your WestJet flights using your Platinum card. But now, as of November 5th, that savings may be not, because now you won't get your first check bag free.
See, I did not know that. I'm one of those people that did not know that.
And it's the same thing. So if people aren't aware, TD Aeroplan, or not even TD Aeroplan, any of the Aeroplan co-brand cards, whether it's American Express, TD, or CIBC, the ones that have the first check bag free, same rule. You actually don't have to pay for the flight with that card. As long as, so they'll have that little bit of advantage over WestJet, but I wouldn't be surprised if Air Canada follows suit. The airlines loved, and even loyalty programs love to follow each other. They play follow the leader. Once one person makes
it seems that way, right?
The others make a change. Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else that people should be aware of with the changes coming to the WestJet RBC MasterCard?
Yeah, so I mean, those were what we basically talked about. There's more the World Elite MasterCard, so the lower level WestJet RBC MasterCard. That one also comes with a companion voucher, but that one, theirs has always just been, that's only for North America. You can't use it on their international flights. Same thing, they give a couple more conversion options. Now you can redeem it for like a 25% flight discount, or you can convert it for 5,000 WestJet points. So 5,000 WestJet points are worth $50. And that card costs $39 a year. So right away, again, just kind of like that $200 Sunwing credit for the other card, this one gives you a little more value than what you just pay for the cards. So pretty good there. So pros and cons, the card, they even added new earn rates on the card, or updated some of the earn rates. So it earns 2 points, like the World Elite card will earn 2 points per dollar on grocery purchases instead of 1.5. It earns 2 points per dollar on gas, EV charging, transit, rideshare. And they've also thrown Sunwing in to the WestJet accelerator, so 2 points per dollar on Sunwing vacation purchases. So you have the potential to earn more on the cards, and it's still a 1.5 points on everything else. A key thing to know about those earn rates is they're unlimited. Other cards like Porter Airlines, their credit cards are capped on their accelerated earn rates. Even TD, like their Aeroplan Visa Infinite card, has an overall spending cap of $80,000 on their accelerated earn rates, which, I mean, for most people, $80,000 is not a ton, but there are people out there who get these cards for their businesses. And I know people who are putting 5-6 figures on their card a month.
I could see where they'd want to cap that.
yeah. So I
would like to charter a jet, please, and use my points.
So WestJet does not cap them. So that's kind of So those are the kind of changes. I mean, it's definitely depending on who you are and your travel habits and spending habits. These are good, and for others, they're not so good.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on your individual needs, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, people can learn all about. They can become a rewards card geek by going to your website, rewardscanada.ca, subscribe to the newsletter, check out all the stuff, and learn to your heart's content. And now I feel like I've missed out because I didn't have a WestJet card with the companion voucher.
With the companion voucher. Well, you can still get it, but just know you'll have to start spending.
Now I got to start spending a lot of money. Patrick Soika is the founder of Rewards Canada. Again, the website rewardscanada.ca. It's always great to chat with you, Patrick. Thank you so much.
It is always great. Thanks again so much, Randy.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.